Hey Shooby-Doodlers, how are you doing? Today I'm going to read you a story from my book Monster Boy. It's called Dino Destroyer. Let's not talk about it. Let's hear the story. This is Connor O'Goyle. This is his My Pod, so we get little messages from here every now and then. And this says, "Welcome to the forest, where the Ministry of Monsters helps humans and monsters live side by side in peace and harmony." That's nice. Connor O'Goyle lives here too with his gargoyle mum, human dad, and his flying dog Trixie. But Connor is no ordinary boy. When monsters get out of control, Connor's the one for the job. He's half monster, he's the Ministry's #1 agent, and he's licensed to do things that no one else can do. He's Monster Boy. Book 1, Dino Destroyer. "Go fetch, girl," Connor yelled, throwing a stick high into the air. Trixie unfurled her wings and zoomed after the stick. As she snapped at it, her wings stopped beating. She froze in midair. Something had scared her. Her eyes opened wide and her fur stood up on end. The stick tumbled to the ground. "You missed," Connor teased his dog. Trixie yelped, "Woo!" and dropped like a brick. She fell into Connor's arms, knocking him flat on the ground. "Oof! What the?" Connor stammered. The scream of splintering wood silenced him. Trees parted and crashed to the ground. Crack! A monstrous shape loomed against the skyline. A giant scaly leg with dagger-sharp claws smashed into the ground, exactly where Connor had been standing a few seconds before. Boom! "It's T-Rex," Connor gasped. "What's he upset about?" The huge, deadly dinosaur lurched past him, tearing a path through the forest as it headed off towards the town. Trixie licked Connor's face and wagged her tail. "Hey, stop it!" Connor complained. And then he looked into his faithful friend's eyes. "Thanks, Trix. I think you just saved my life." Bloop, 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 bloop. An emergency alarm went off in Connor's pocket. He pulled out his MyPod and read the screen. "Mission alert to Monster Boy, #1 agent. From Mission Control, Ministry of Monsters. Subject, emergency in Beechnut Woods. Dinosaur, Tyrannosaurus Rex, on the rampage. Please investigate immediately. Dinosaurs can be dangerous. Approach with care. Good luck. M.O.M. Ministry of Monsters. This message will self-erase in 15 seconds. Connor raced into the Pedal-O bike hire shop where he lived with his mum and dad. Mum looked up from the mountain bike she was fixing. "What's up?" she asked calmly. She was used to Connor's monster emergencies. "I need MP3 and fast," said Connor. Mum wheeled the gleaming bike out of the secret store. "I put some sandwiches and a bottle of water in the back," she told Connor. "Now be careful, wear your helmet, and give your mum a kiss before you go." "Oh, Mum!" Connor complained. "Not now." Connor's mum was a gargoyle, so Connor was half monster. His code name was Monster Boy, and if anyone could look after himself, Connor could. Connor raced off down the old railway track that was now a forest bike path. Trixie leaned out of her basket on the handlebars. She loved to feel the wind in her ears. They were soon in town looking for signs of the dinosaur. Ruff! Trixie pointed her nose towards a terrifying scene of devastation. A large office building crumbled before their eyes. Through the clouds of dust, they saw giant, powerful jaws open wide. Enormous teeth sunk into the side of the building. The walls collapsed in a shower of bricks and concrete. Excuse me, Connor called out to a man in a bright yellow builder's helmet. Have you seen a dinosaur around here? No dinosaurs here, mate, the man called back. Only that old monster there. He pointed to the demolition machine that soared high above them. Its mechanical jaws tore into the building, biting out window frames and chomping up the roof tiles. Something was written on the machine's long, extending arm. Connor screwed up his eyes. "Raise it Demolition Corporation," he read out loud. "Aye," said the man, "that's us. Now you better move along, it's dangerous around here." Connor gets a message on his MyPod again. "Monster Identifier Program. Tyrannosaurus Rex. Distinguishing features. Sharp teeth and claws. Preferred habitat. Prehistoric Earth. Essential information. A few dinosaurs survive in the forest. Sadly, there is only one Tyrannosaurus Rex left, and he is happy as long as he lets off steam once in a while, but he often gets bored and lonely. On the footbridge over the main road, Connor saw what he had most feared. The dinosaur roared as cars skidded and crashed into each other. Frightened drivers and passengers ran for their lives. "T-Rex, stop!" Connor shouted. The huge beast turned its giant head and glared back at him. It picked up an abandoned car and ripped it in half with his teeth. "You gonna make me?" T-Rex roared. T-Rex clawed open the side of a truck and scrunched up a bus as if it were made of cardboard. In no time, the road looked like a scrapyard. Connor had to stop T-Rex before he did more damage. But how? Connor's MyPod pinged again. Ding. It was a message from his dad, Gary O'Goyle, the world-famous mountain bike champion. Dad always sent messages at the most unhelpful times. "Hollywood! Hi, son! I'm having a great time at the Hollywood Celebrity Mountain Bike Race. Here's a picture of me and Cowboy Jim, the rodeo star. I got his autograph for you. Lots of love, Dad." "Cowboy Jim," Connor whooped. "That gives me an idea. Thanks, Dad." "Ready?" Connor asked his faithful pet. Trixie wagged her tail and snuffed her nose in a sneeze of joy. She loved chasing monsters. Connor aimed the bike handlebars at the dinosaur's legs. He flipped open the lid of his bell and he pressed the red launch button. Fire! 2 missiles streaked out of the front suspension forks. Each missile spun out a fine thread behind it. The thread was a top-secret material made from a giant monster's spider's web. It was 10 times stronger than steel, but felt as soft as silk. Here's some information about MB3 Monster Bike 3. It's a capture bike. It has many attachments to suit the capture of monsters. It's got an electro prod, sandwiches and first aid box underneath the seat, and a slither catcher for catching slithery things. MB3 monster missiles are radio controlled from the handlebars. You steer the handlebars to make them go where you want them. And the fire button is hidden in the bell. Connor guided the missiles using the handlebars as controllers. The missiles wrapped the thread round and round T-Rex's legs. Trixie knew what to do. She flew around the dinosaur's head to distract him. He snapped his powerful jaws and lunged at her. The thread wound tighter and tighter around his legs. One final snap at the brave little dog made the lumbering beast lose his balance. T-Rex came crashing to the ground, and soon the monster lay silent and helpless in the middle of the road. Connor patted his happy, tail-wagging friend. "Nice work, Trix." Connor stood over the monster and stared into its giant yellow eyes. "Now, have you quite finished, T-Rex?" Connor sighed. The dinosaur snorted and slumped its huge head on the ground, defeated by a boy and his dog. But Connor was half monster himself, and he understood that monsters have feelings too. "You can't go round eating cars whenever you feel like it," Connor whispered to the beast. Connor paused for a moment while he collected his thoughts, and then he smiled and said, "I've had an idea you just might be interested in." "So where's the dinosaur now?" asked Connor's mum as they cycled into town to do the weekly shop. "You'll see in a minute," Connor told her with a twinkle in his eye. Mum knew that he must have come up with one of his monster solutions. Connor liked to help monsters with their problems. Connor's brakes squealed. "There," he said, pointing at the demolition site. T-Rex and the enormous wrecking machine moved together in a dance of destruction. Together they ripped and slashed and jumped and bashed their way through the office building. It was almost beautiful to watch. The man in the yellow helmet came up and shook Connor's hand. "T-Rex is the best worker we've ever had," he laughed. "They look so happy together," Mum said, as she watched the dinosaur and the wrecking machine work in perfect harmony. Connor smiled. Poor old T-Rex. All he needed was someone like him to play with. Ruff! Trixie had found a piece of wood and she dropped it at Connor's feet. Connor laughed. "Do you want to play too, Trix?" And he picked up the stick and he threw it high into the sky. "Go fetch, girl!" Here we have a map of the forest, which is very similar to the place where I live, called the Forest of Dean. And we don't have Lidmouth Town, but we have Monmouth Town, and we have another town called Lydney. And here in the middle is the bike shop where Connor lives with his mum, and sometimes his dad when he's home from his cycling championships. The next book is called Mummy Menace. Click up here and I'll read it to you. I have a question for you. What is your favourite monster, and do you think that Monster Boy could sort him out? Put your answers in the comments box below. I'm sure you'd like to have your own copy so that you can read along. Try your library, you never know your luck. Otherwise, there are links below to Amazon and my own website where you can get a signed copy with a free poster. In the meantime, keep reading, and I'll see you next time. You take care now.